Is Phil just kind of getting working, or is he maybe going to be coming?
I think Phil's gonna be on the roster. There will be games where he plays and games where he doesn't. We may do that with other guys as well, kind of to be determined. But he is always open. Like, the guy wants to play. I mean, he always wants to be around and play. And so Danny actually talked about it with us this morning. Talked to Phil, and we gave him the quick run through because he hadn't been here the first 2 days or so, and he picked it up like that. Away we go.
Do you know what the kind of the goal is, the kind of desire to have him?
Well, I think first and foremost, another great player who represents everything you want as a teammate and a worker, and the kind of guy that you want around. And then, secondly, again, there will be games where he probably doesn't even dress, and then there are games, days where he'll, if he dresses, he'll probably play a lot. So again, it's just a matter of being ready to deal with that many games in that short amount of days. Great opportunity for all these guys, including Phil, to continue to play and grow. And then, then we have a little bit more flexibility with who's on the court and everything else.
You guys have a lot of guards. Is that something you're thinking about with other guys too, with the two leagues, sitting other guys out, or just Phil?
Yeah, no, we're thinking about sitting other guys, and there's no question. It's kind of depends on the day. We want everybody to get this to be the most beneficial experience possible. Obviously, most of these guys will probably dress and play almost every game, but we may decide to sit smart once. We may decide to, and then play, Terry and Phil together, or play Phil for an extended 30-minute period and then sit him the next day. Those types of things. We got a little bit of flexibility, and playing in 2 summer leagues, I think, helps you do that a little bit.
Plus, it seems like the games you're playing are mostly night stuff, so you plan on having workouts. So those guys,
we're going to be working out a lot. We're going to be working out a lot, and and Corey Walden's got a hamstring right now that he's not been totally cleared to play. So that's another guard that you always think as a coach, well, you don't want another tweaked hamstring or another injury to make you uncomfortable with a limited amount of people. There's no question about that.
Has anything stood out the first few days, or anything notable about how the guys were?
The first 2 days were just learning techniques, drills, lingo. Not a lot of playing, but a lot of half-court drill work, some full-court drill work. And then today was a little bit more playing to kind of see him in an up-and-down setting. And I thought that some of the guys were decent in the first couple days, really looked good today. Thought a couple of the guys that maybe stood out a little bit more didn't look as good today, but that's why you don't overreact to 3 6-minute scrimmages. It's we're still early in this. We're not overreacting any which way, but we're encouraged by what we see.
Is there a chance with the summer league you might start, based on the roster, do some 3 and 4 guard lineups?
Well,
lineups?
I've always kind of thought the guys are either perimeters or they're bigs, right? But I think that most of our guys that will play at the 4, C.J. Fair, John Holmes, Malcolm Miller, and we'll play Mickey there some as well, but we'll mix in Mickey as a rolling 5 as well. Then those guys are mostly perimeter guys. Most of those guys are 3s first that are kind of become 4s, or kind of the 4 that can stretch the floor, put the ball on the deck and get by people.
Brad, what do you want to see at this point? What are you looking for when you look at the team? I mean,
my only deal is, are we getting better? And are we getting better individually? Are we getting better collectively? Are we focused only on that and winning the next game? That's all I care about. I've told them that from day one. That's the most important thing. If your mind's anywhere else, you'll be distracted. You won't play as well. So focus on the things you can control, focus on those things, and let's go from there. I'm very encouraged by what I've seen so far, but again, I don't want to overreact and anoint anybody that still has a lot of work to do.
There's a lot of obviously it can be a lot of turnover from year to year, and you guys had a lot of turnover in season the last couple of years. But based on how you guys finished last year, is there a part of you that's happy that this roster will be apparently fairly similar to the one that you guys played the last 36
I just
years?
think in general terms, I think the more continuity, the better. Obviously we've talked about the idea or the the positive concept of corporate knowledge and being able to draw back from experiences that you've lived together in the past. So, you know, obviously it's great when you've got guys like Avery, Kelly, Sully that have been here the whole time, right? And, you know, that you can draw back on all those experiences. And, you know, but we've got guys in there now that are going to be on our roster that haven't been here. So just kind of blend it all together, and hopefully you get, you know, good leadership from those guys that have been there the whole time as far as helping, communicating, and pulling guys along.
There's been talk over, you know, recent years that the Celtics have had a hard time luring free agents. Is it nice to know that presumably, like when you get guys here like you did last year, you're able to convince them to stay?
Well, you know, I don't, and I think that that's obviously, there's a number of factors that go into play in free agents deciding where they ultimately land. You know, some of those factors are, you know, you're within your control, and you can position yourself to have a chance. Some of them are way out of your control. And I think the biggest thing is that I feel really good about our environment. I think people will really enjoy playing with this group of people, and I don't think there's any question about it. We got guys that like the game. They work at the game. They want to be good, and we have to focus our attention on those guys and helping them become the best they can be.
There was like a little emphasis, a couple of guys said, this offseason having guys around more. Not that you have to stay and watch them the entire summer, kind of popping in, popping out, getting workouts in, and being just kind of almost building that culture. Is that something you
We had guys here. I mean, I think the young guys. I think that's been something that's gone on probably for a long time. But you know, we're always. The one thing is our staff all live here. We're always here, so it's, you know, other than maybe when we all take a break to recharge as well, we're around. So, you know, if they want to come in and they want to work, we love having them. And a lot of the young guys are around, but you know, again, it's kind of like the guys that haven't been. It's not, they're working too. So I feel really good about that. And I think, you know, you'll probably see a lot of guys that will come out west and poke their head in at the summer leagues. I think there's a really good kind of you know, collective feel to this whole thing. And you know, guys, you know, I've had a bunch of texts from our current players about how summer league's going, asking about how things are going. They're invested in this. And you know, they're looking forward, like you guys are, to watching these guys.
Other than the you know, the players that have been reported, do you feel that this is the roster kind of the way it stands now is probably going to be what you guys are going to have moving forward? Or are you guys still looking to?
You know, that's the question for the other guys. You know, I'm not going to speak in any terms of certainty, right? Obviously, I can't comment on all the free agent stuff, but I think that, you know, I feel good about the direction we're headed.
Does James look different to you this summer, James Young?
Yeah, I mean, way different, just from a physical standpoint. He's bigger, stronger. He's, you know, I think he's got a much better feel for how the game is played. I think he has a much better understanding of where he can be impactful on both ends. And, you know, I'm encouraged by his play, and I'm intrigued to see him play. There's been good competition amongst our young guards in there. And, you know, I think that'll only continue. I actually wish we had 10 days of practices and 2 days of games, but we'll see how it goes once we start playing all these games.
How's Terry look so far? I mean, has he been turning heads out there?
You know, I think, you know, again, I don't want to overdo it on anybody. We've played 18 total minutes of scrimmaging. His speed is the highest level. And once we started going up and down the full court, he did a lot of things that, you know, kind of took you back. But at the same time, he's got a lot to learn and a lot to work on. But I know he'll do that. I've got no question about that.
With the depth you guys have, obviously, at guard, and then the fact you guys are going to have to make a decision with Phil Pressey's contract in a couple weeks, is that, I mean, you guys know what you have in him, but is seeing him out there with these guys going to kind of help you guys with that decision?
For me, this is, you know, I think we all feel this way. We love Phil. I mean, I think we all, you know, we all appreciate the way he works. We like what he does. We've watched him for 2 years, and, you know, to evaluate him on a 5-day basis is not, you know, it doesn't make any sense for the 2 years that we've been together. We know everything about him. We'll see how the next 10 days play itself out or whatever it is, and we'll go from there. And that's, but he is, and I've said this before, you have to be able to manage your roster appropriately, obviously, in all these decisions. But he's the kind of guy you want to have around here. And so we'll see how it all plays out. But I'm a big Phil Pressey guy.
Can the summer league be a good opportunity for a guy like Marcus to even further establish himself as a leader on this team, or is it just, more? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think it's about. Again, I think leadership is about going out and doing it every day, being a guy that people can count on, being a guy that helps pull people along in areas where they need help, and being a guy that encourages and empowers people. I don't think it's like you put a stamp on somebody and call him a leader. So he's got to continue to do that. He should be the leader with this group because he's the most accomplished as far as an NBA player goes. And so we'll see. Time will tell. But I think that also, it's different when you're leading a group or being charged with leading a group that is all relatively the same age versus, obviously this isn't our team that you'll see next fall.
Thanks.
Thanks.